Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified Doctor of Naturopathy, Dr. Stephen Cabral, shares with you exactly how you can reverse aging, take back your health, and live a life full of energy and passion, with new 20-minute episodes every single day to keep you healthy and engaged. Now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. We're here today, brand new Cabral Concept. So glad you could join me. This is episode 2803 of the show. Today we're going to be talking about the future cost of your current decisions. Love being able to bring shows like this to you because as I'm mentally preparing for the week, as I typically do later on Sunday afternoon or Sunday night, I'm hanging out with my family and I'm just kind of going through the motions, just really gently, very easily as to what am I going to be setting as a plan for this overall week based on my 12-week year. And if you don't know what the 12-week year is, I'm happy to link up additional episodes on that formula because I will tell you right now, it is one of the most life-changing formulas for scheduling your years, your quarters, your months, and your weeks that I've ever seen before in my life. So I'm going to link that up. Very simple podcast on how to implement that. Head on over to stephencabral.com/2803. But today I want to dive into how I essentially look at this overall methodology. And it starts with a very simple quote. The quote is this: the math you can learn and you should learn is how to calculate the future cost of your current decisions. So what does that even mean? When you hear quotes like this, they're fun to look at on Instagram or social media or whatever it might be. But oftentimes we just scroll through them and we're like, oh, that sounded like a really good quote. But we don't dive deeper on them. We don't really think about how that might apply to our life. So what I did was I right away, I kind of went to my journal, my thought-based process, and jotted down 5 or 6 or 7 different future costs that I could immediately think about in my own mind as how I try not to let these things slide into my life. Now, they might be very different for you. Okay, so I'm not going to say that they're not, but I've found at having seen now hundreds of thousands of people in our practice that these are ones that a lot of people let slide. And the problem is when we begin to let them slide, what happens? Well, no big deal for today, right? Probably not even a big deal for this week, maybe even not this month. But if we let a month slide by, we notice, right? Think about this. If you're someone that exercises, but you stop for a month, it's harder to get back into it. It really is. You lose momentum, right? So what happens? Well, you might delay it even further, or you might get injured getting back into it because you go too fast back into it, or you start to lose other parts of your life. Because if you're not exercising, maybe you're not watching your nutrition. So I want to go through a few of these, see if they relate. Some of them will, some of them won't. I would love to hear from you as well in the comments, which ones you're paying the most attention to. So the future cost of overeating is weight gain and an increase in all-cause mortality. Basically, it just makes life so much harder. There's more wear and tear on the body, on the joints. There's more oxidative stress, much more likely for cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, cancer, and much more. And so when I look at this, I say, well, yeah, I can overeat. There's a lot of my favorite foods. I could eat after dinner, all these different things, but I don't want the repercussions of that. Let's keep going. The future cost of not exercising is getting weak, tired, and being susceptible to low metabolic issues. None of those that I want, right? So that's why I have to do it today. All right, the future cost of taking it easy at your job is slow to no growth and a lack of financial security in the future for many people, right? Like that's how I have to look at it. If you're in a day-to-day job, you're in your cubicle, which I was way back in the day, 22 years old in a cubicle, didn't really enjoy it, but I had to look at it as I need to do well at my job here at the lowest, right? The lowest rung on the ladder so that maybe I'll be promoted, right? So because if I was to be promoted, well, then I'd be able to get more financially secure and I would do more of the work that I've been able to. Now, luckily for me, I just totally transitioned field-wise. I was working 2 jobs and I just said, you know what? I just cannot go back. I cannot live my life in a cubicle. I just couldn't do it. So I was already working as a nutritionist and personal trainer at night. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to go all in. I'll make less money, sure, but I'm living a really low cost lifestyle. My rent is really low. I commuted 45 minutes to an hour to work every day. So like I was living inexpensively outside of the city and I had to commute in. That was the trade-off. But that's what I did to be able to do what I loved. And in the beginning, yeah, I mean, I wasn't able to make a good living, but for me, I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to share with people the knowledge of health, wellness, fitness. And I just believe that if you stick with something long enough and you're truly passionate about it and you're able to help people then get results because you've done it for long enough, you're going to be able to make a good living. So the future cost of not sleeping, not getting enough sleep, is low hormones, weight gain, low mood, and accelerated aging. I don't think anybody wants that, but you don't think about it, right? That one night when you're, I'm going to go to bed a little bit later, right? All right. The future cost of not prioritizing your relationships is being lonely when you get older, depressed, and missing out on a lot of your why. So again, some of these are for you, some of these are for me. And the relationships I have to understand is like, I could go all in on my fitness and my high performance health, my biohacking, all these other different things. I do them, right? I do them, but not like getting too wild on them, right? And especially like when I was starting a different business. If I had a family, 2 children at that time, which I have now, it would be difficult. It would be really difficult to be a good dad. And so I realized, well, at this point, at this phase of my life, I need to really be all in on my relationships, my family, because that's what's going to matter for the rest of my life, right? So eventually your kids may leave your home and you've had that time with them. That's the majority of the time. I know it's not great to think about, but that's the majority of the time. When you look at the hours spent, is that time. Now, if you set the stage correctly, properly, it's never too late, by the way, but if you set the stage properly, then you'll be able to have those great relationships the rest of your life. Hopefully you're doing the same with your partner, friends, whatever it might be. You can't spread yourself too thin, and that's why you need to prioritize a bit, but think about the future cost of not prioritizing those relationships right now. Think about that. All right, the future cost of not taking care of your health symptoms, the bloating, the gas, the fatigue, the skin issues, the headaches, whatever it might be. Those things they start to creep in, right? You start to fill up that rain barrel, you start to see the symptoms. Well, the problem is if we neglect them now, the future cost is greater dis-ease in the body. And having to stop then at some point in your life for surgery or for whatever it is, to be able to take care of those issues, heart disease, vascular, type 2 diabetes, etc. We don't want those things later in life, but the problem is that everything we're doing right now becomes our future. So what are the things that you're doing throughout your typical day? And that's why for me, what I try to think about is like, oh yeah, I'm doing my healthy breakfast, my healthy lunch, my healthy dinner. Yes, I'm doing 1 or 2 flex meals per week, but it's like, those are the things that add up. If I think about it, okay, I have about 27 meals per week, right? Sometimes I get in a couple extra smoothies, whatever it might be, before a workout. But when you look at it, let's say it's 27 different meals. Okay, well, if I'm on point for, or what would it be? 3 times 7 is 21. So 21 different meals for the week. Okay, so let's say I miss 2. 2 of them are cheat meals, whatever I want to eat. 19 out of 21. We're excellent. Great. Okay, if I look at my workouts for the month, I try to get in 4 to 5 days per week. Ideally 5. I aim for 5. And if I get 4, I'm happy. But if I look at that, okay, 5 times, let's say 4 weeks, and there's typically an extra, 3 days or so per month, 2 or 3 days per month. So we'll add 1 in there. So I'm getting about 21 workouts or so, right? 21 workouts, 4 times 5 is 20, plus an extra 1 in there for the month, 21 out of 30 days. Not bad, right? If I miss 1, okay, no big deal. I'm at 20. So what am I at? I'm at 2/3, right? I've done 2/3 of my days in that month. More days than not, I'm exercising, I'm working out. So it's a way to begin to frame your days and your weeks as to say, I need to start doing more of the things that I want to get in the future. So basically, if you take a future goal, nobody ever gets that goal. Like, that's the truth. I know it's kind of strange saying that, but like you say, I want to be in robust health. I want to optimize my health. Well, what does that even mean, right? Like, what does it mean to optimize your health? Well, nobody knows, except you want to feel like you have more energy. You have to define that, right? So what's optimal health? Well, optimal health for me, at least, is waking up with energy in the morning, not feeling groggy. It is being able to have enough energy for my family, for myself, exercise-wise, to be able to do my work, all of those things. Health for me is to be able to have really clear cognition, right? The cognitive ability to be able to recall when I'm speaking, to be able to come up with podcast topics, to be able to teach inside of Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, like whatever it might be. That's what I need to be able to do. So I have a whole list of these things. To me, that's what health is. Now, the problem is, like, I can't just wish for that as a goal. So my goal doesn't ever really come true. What comes true is me taking actions on a daily basis. And those actions would be, okay, going through the de-stress protocol, right? That's basically what it is, what I've been teaching. So it's the diet, the exercise, the stress reduction, the toxin removal, the rest, the emotional balance, the scientifically backed supplements, the success mindset. So I need to move through those on a daily basis. And what that does then is, in reference to my goal, if I keep doing the right things, I'm able to achieve that. And then you can bring that into your relationships, your career, weight loss, whatever it is. Like you can make that. But what happens is you're doing those things on a daily basis, or you're not. And if you're not, that's the future cost. So the future blessing is that if you're doing the things today, you're typically blessed then with a more successful life. Now, success is subjective. It's not for me to decide what's successful. I can only define success for me. You need to define success for you. So that's how we look at it. And then we say, are today's actions moving us closer to that successful life, those goals, by the actions that we take, or are we delaying it? And remember, no big deal. Like that's the issue, is that the things that get you to your goals are not necessarily hard to do. But the other thing is that they're also easy not to do. And because they're easy not to do, meaning like cheat on your diet, not exercise for the day, not work in your relationships, not get enough sleep, not do all of the things that you're supposed to do. It's easy not to do them. And at the same time, like it's not that hard to go to bed a little bit earlier. Now, at certain points of your life, I get it. You're working 2 jobs like I was, or you're doing whatever it is. But that phase shouldn't last forever, right? So what it really comes down to is doing the redundant things that you don't necessarily want to do, that require discipline, that ultimately, though, leads to the happiness that you're looking for. Because if you tie happiness to success and you define what success is, ultimately you create that life that you're looking for. So my ask for you is this: what are the things right now that you could be doing to get you closer to your goal? I'd love to hear what those are in the comments as well. But at the same time, please let's share what are the things that you know that you should be doing and you're not doing. Because sometimes it's what we're not doing, right, that's holding us back. And here's why. I gave you a little bit of an example earlier on. I said, if you're not exercising, harder to stick with your nutrition, because most people who exercise, they don't want to mess it up by cheating on their diet, right? Having an extra flex meal, whatever you want to call it. They're just not as willing to do that. So it really begins to snowball. I know that if I'm exercising, I'm paying more attention to my nutrition. I'm trying to get to bed a little bit earlier. I'm tracking my sleep scores, my readiness scores, all of those things. I'm doing all of the things, but the catalyst is the exercise. So it's funny. For me, I don't over-exercise. I mean, I love to exercise, don't get me wrong, but when I overtrain, I get a lot of inflammation in my body, right? And so what I try to do is keep it in check. But I do it often, more days always than not per week. And then that leads then to really being focused on the other areas of my life. So do you have an area like that too, where if you did one thing, everything else would start to seem to get better? And I would say this: are there areas that you're working on right now? You know they're part of your goals, but they could use improving. Meaning, like, if we're being honest, we could say, yeah, I'm following my nutrition, I'm following my exercise, I'm following my stress reduction, I'm following my sleep. Okay, you are, but are you doing them to the best of your ability? Because sometimes it's not that we're not doing them, it's that we're not doing them as well as we need to be if we're really serious about hitting our goals. Because our goals just don't appear out of nowhere. They appear because of the person we become. And the person we become is largely dictated by the actions we take, the feelings that we also derive from those actions, which then lead us to be the person who's going to do more of those actions. We start to create a character, a new person. And that is why people say, oh, people can't change. No, you still carry with you who you are, but you can't absolutely change. I know that I am someone that has absolutely changed in the second half of my life. There's just no doubt about that. And I know many people as well. I'm not the only individual. There's no special talents or genetics or skills that I have that allowed me to change. I simply said, I'm not happy with this first 24, 25 years or so of my life. I want the next half to be better. Part of that started with my health. That's the truth. Like, I wasn't happy because I had no energy. I was frustrated. I was aggravated. I was angry. I was depressed. I was anxious, all those things. So I said, I want all the things that most people want, but I need to get my health first. And so that's what I did. I said, health is the linchpin. It's the catalyst that if I were to complete that goal, everything would fall into place. Like I didn't want to have a family if I was exhausted, right? Although I was fortunate enough to have found my wife at that time, I didn't even want to get married because I was like, I'm just not, like I don't have my life together. And when I was younger, in my early 20s, I just didn't know exactly where it was leading. And I couldn't lead it anywhere because I didn't have the energy, the immune system, the ability to really control my life. And that is why, for the most part, I really have gone into health and tried to help as many people as I can, because I know that all of us have a greater potential than what we're doing right now. But it's so hard to achieve that potential if you don't have the health, the energy, the vitality, the zest for life. I didn't wake up ready to get after the day in the morning in my 20s. I just didn't. I was exhausted. So if you don't have that mentality, how do you really take the day seriously? So I get it. I understand. And so the problem is, though, we can't still deny the math of how to calculate the future cost of our current decisions. It's still happening. So for me, unfortunately, and it's fortunate and unfortunate, it delayed about a decade in my life, right? From let's say like 18 to 28, 17 to 27. But the nice thing is I had crystal clarity of what I was meant to do because of what I went through. And that's why some people say your mess becomes your message, right? Many people, they're looking at what to do with their life, how to improve, how to serve, what career to create, what to teach on social media. Most of the time, and what I'm trying to teach the IHPs, it's what you've gone through. That's how you can help others. There are so many people just like you, you've just never met them before. In a world of 8 billion people with 3+ billion people online, you're telling me that there's not a couple 100,000 people just like you? Of course there are. There absolutely are. And so whatever you're struggling with right now, I know it's costing you time, and you're probably aggravated by that. You're frustrated by that. But the truth is that there's one thing, that whatever you fix that one thing, everything begins to get a little bit easier. Find out what that one thing is. And then don't be too hard on yourself. We need to be gentler. Again, we're all struggling. Like everybody struggles in their life in their own way. The nice thing is, as you begin to move through it a little bit more, the struggles become a little bit less. And also you deal with them in a better way, because you've been through it before. So you become a little bit hardened in a way, not in a bad way, but in a way that you have more wisdom. You say, yeah, I've been through this before. Now if I get sick or get a cold or whatever it is, I say, okay, yeah, I'd rather not be here, but no big deal. I know how to get well. I know that this isn't going to last. And so when you have that mindset, that perspective, you can give gratitude for where you're at right now, even if it's not truly where you want it to be. So the goal right now is to assess where you're at right now in your life. Become self-aware. It's one of my biggest phrases that I try to share with people. Find out what you need to do in order to get to your goal. Find out what it is that you're not doing. It could be those same exact things. And then simply begin to move forward. That's it. Move forward on the path. You will never know exactly or everything that you need to do, but you'll know enough. You'll know the next step. Take the next step, begin today, start to push back any future debt that you're creating with your current decisions. And if anything, now begin to shorten the timeline for you to achieve that first goal, the first goal of many. Remember, we all set goals in our life. I think that we start to achieve those goals. They build greater confidence in us, and then we start to create a life that we didn't even imagine was possible. That's what I want for you. I appreciate you tuning into the Cabral Concept each and every Monday for these Mindset and Motivation Mondays. Every day, though, we bring a new show. For all additional shows, head on over to stephencabral.com/podcast and do feel free to share the show with anyone you believe it could serve. Take care, everybody. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my health results accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stephencabral.com/courses.